And this letter here was shoved under my door, and it says, according to article number blah blah, which states that there are prohibitions putting clothing, articles of clothing, carpets in the windows, balconies, and facades.
We're in a Ecuadorian botanical gardens. So there's supposed to be some botanicals in here. On the other side,
Hey there, welcome to our channel, and we're talking about getting kicked out of our apartment. Alright, so before I get to that though, I wanted to say about the building fees. Now, we never planned on living in a building. Matter of fact, there's a few of you that are still around from many years ago, but I said in a long time ago, years ago, that I like being outdoors, and enjoying the yard and just the nature and that kind of thing. And so, because I was younger back then, and a lot of the retirees were much older than us, but we're starting to get up there ourselves now. But that's not why we went into the security building. After the 2020 regulations that decimated the economies, and especially here in Ecuador, is decimating the economies and small businesses, and is pretty much crippling tourism and the economy here ever since 2020. Of course, crime rates go up, so that's why we're in the building, right? And it's got security and all that. And so that brings me to expenses of being in buildings. And I know that, if we're going to play this game where we're going to compare to, the Western countries, I know there's places even out in the Caribbean where building fees are more, twice as much as the rents here. So I mean, if you're going to do the comparison game, then there's nothing to talk about. But we always compare the location to the location, not to other areas. So this whole idea, that you used to read from these international consultants and such about the what's the name of it? There's a term for it. If you remember it, it's at the tip of my tongue. Put it in the comments. But it's called where they compare the price of a hamburger in one country to the price of a hamburger in another country to see which one is mispriced, and therefore it's, more, there's value left. That's of course completely ridiculous, because first off, country A and country B may be apples and oranges. There's no comparison, okay? So those kinds of things that we've read through the years and accepted as established premises, we're busting through them. We've been busting through them for 10 years on the channel. And so, the idea of what building fees should be is part of that conversation that we always have about the rents we pay, and and just the idea that our life is balanced because we live as the locals would live, and don't facilitate and embrace bubbles and that kind of thing, which, by the way, are very harmful. Some people don't understand that what goes up must come down. And I had an Ecuadorian bilingual once ask me, well, what's the problem? What's wrong with prices going sky high? And I told him, well, what happens in a typical bubble is that the prices get so high, they get to a certain level. At the beginning, everybody's happy. But then they get to a level where people are locked out. They're they cannot pay the prices. They, you know, which is what we've been talking about, expats coming down and saying, wow, this is out of my budget, and leaving Ecuador, yeah. And so you get to a level where people can't afford it and they stop buying. But then because prices are so high, greed kicks in and sellers all jump in. People say, wow, I've got to take profits. The prices are just too good. And so the sellers, all these sellers show up and the buyers disappear, and that's what causes the crash. So crashes are no good, because then nobody's buying and people, you know, people are starving. So, you know, bubbles when it comes to the livelihood of the locals. I'm not talking about some abstract financial market or something, some kind of crypto thing or stocks. You know, you can easily get in and out of those quickly. But when you're talking about the livelihood and the, you know, the ability to have a roof over your head, things that everyone, you know, everyone needs to have, a roof over your head, you know, food and access, free access to food, and, you know, food, clothing, and shelter, the minimum in life, you know, just to pursuit of happiness even on top of that. So anyway, talking about building fees, where we ended up in a building, something we never really wanted to do, something we never thought we would ever do, and here it comes back to bite us. So I'm going to read you the letter right here in a second. No?
It smells good. I love the smell of eucalyptus. What is that? Ooh, that scares me.
Has the framing. Oh,
I'm scared. I wouldn't walk on it. I don't like it.
All right, so I'm just going to give you some brief detail, because it's important to be clear how sometimes we have to be super careful, because even though, you know, I mean, somebody's trying to help and they make a good comment, and in general it's a correct comment, there are always details and exceptions, and anything can happen at any time, anywhere, even in places like Latin America, Ecuador, Mexico, where sometimes where things seem to be a certain way, that doesn't mean that you know, certain experiences don't ever happen. That's the point. And this letter here was shoved under my door. And it says, according to article number blah blah, which states that there are prohibitions putting clothing, articles of clothing, carpets in the windows, balconies, and facades. So it's also prohibited to, I don't know what this word means, sacudir, sweep or throw dust out the windows, or clean carpets or other artifacts, beating them against the wall. Now, this is really, you gotta understand, let me just be super clear here. We haven't done any of this. we haven't done any of this. Not guilty. And so, yeah, so you got all these things. We don't put our clothes, we don't hang our clothes, we don't even own a carpet. And we definitely know better than to sweep dust or throw out the window dust and clean carpets or other artifacts, beating them against a wall. Listen, we lived in Italy, and I was one time I was walking under a balcony, and somebody was mopping, and the sprinkles of the dirty, moppy, bleachy fell on my lips, and it felt awful. They've got a fine here for doing all those things. And the funny thing about it is that there is something that we do. We hang our face towels and hand towels. The hand towels are on the inside of the building. They're not hanging, and they're small. They're tiny hand towels, and they're not hanging out the window and all that. But whatever. They got these rules. They don't want you to put anything on the balcony. All we put on that is the face towel, but they don't want you to do that either. But none of the other stuff we've done. But I was on the balcony a couple of different times, and I know that the people above me were sweeping dirt and dust, and it fell all over my head and stuff. And I never complained to anybody, and I never said anything. But apparently they must still be doing it. The people above me, and so somehow the attention is getting centered on us as the ones that are doing this. And now I hate to I don't want to be the snitch, the guy that's snitching anybody out. So I'm going to write a nice letter explaining how we haven't done any of these things except for the towels, which we will quit doing. And therefore I'm going to clarify that, you know, I've been out in the balcony and had dust swept on my head, and that we don't even own rugs and we don't beat anything against the wall.
I think he's going to be mowing the lawn for a while.
Understand me. That's right, hold on.
What is it? Oh yeah, that's a good way to do it. It gives the plant nitrogen.
Whole beans climbing up the corn, yeah.
Like this, honey? What is this?
Yeah, look at the shoot. So, okay, so I just wanted you to know that sometimes it's important to know that anything can happen at any time, anywhere. You know, it's important to understand that sometimes things need to be addressed and handled, and understand and realize that, you know, it's not a situation where absolutely nothing ever happens. All right, well, thanks for staying with me. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, and have a wonderful day.